So today I want to talk a little bit about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Overall, I didn't really like the film. I thought it was way too long. Soundtrack had some issues. I didn't like some of the directions that they took with the characters, and there were some things that I really liked about it. And yeah, it is superior to the Joss Whedon version. Although I must admit, when I first stayed up and watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, I initially thought, you know what, Joss Whedon's version is better because it's short. It's a simple 2 hours. It has more humor and all that stuff. And uh, I actually went back and rewatched Joss Whedon's version. Well, I don't even want to call it Joss Whedon's version. It's more of the WB Frankenstein's monster version, and wow, that is a bad movie. So yeah, props to Zack Snyder for being able to realize his vision and make a competent and coherent film. But just because it's superior to the Whedon version doesn't mean it's a movie I want to watch again. There may be some isolated scenes that I would like to go back and rewatch, some scenes that were kind of cool, but this isn't a movie that I could sit down and watch for another 4 hours. I think it would have been better if he split it up into a few parts, and yeah, you can do that voluntarily, like it's split up into chapters, and so you can watch a chapter and pause it and come back the next day. Uh, but still, yeah, I don't know. I also admit that I'm probably biased against this because I stayed up until midnight waiting for it to become available on HBO Max, and I stayed up until 4:30 in the morning finishing the movie, and I had work the next day, and so yeah, I may have just been in a bad mood when I watched it. If you think I was in a bad mood, let me know in the comments below and tell me why I'm wrong. But yeah, let's just go over some of the specific reasons why I was not a big fan of the Zack Snyder version. First of all, the soundtrack was weird in some instances. Now, the soundtrack I thought overall was an improvement over the Joss Whedon version. There was a lot more. There were some pretty cool, epic scenes, like when Batman is driving the Batmobile at the end, and when Aquaman and Batman are fighting against the parademons. Like there was some cool, like epic drum beats going, and they had this cool distorted guitar sound effect. Sounded kind of Tom Morello-ish. Rage Against the Machine-ish, and those were some pretty cool soundtrack moments, and stuff like that just wasn't in the Joss Whedon version. I guess the only thing that I liked about the Joss Whedon soundtrack was he worked the original Batman theme and the original Superman theme into the soundtrack, which I thought was a pretty cool nod to the old films. But other than that, there wasn't anything very good about the Joss Whedon soundtrack. But let me tell you where the soundtrack really disappointed me. And that was where so the first half hour of the film takes place on the Amazonian island, and every single time an Amazonian jumps around in slow motion, they play this weird Middle Eastern auto-tuned warbling singing sound where it literally sounds like yeah. That's my best impression. That's my best impression of it. But that is the soundtrack for the first half hour of the movie. Seriously, like it'll play 15 seconds of regular action scenes, and then it'll break into a slow motion effect of an Amazonian jumping over some bad guy. It'll be like. And so that's like the first half hour of the movie. And then not only, if they had only done it a couple of times, I would have been fine with it. But every time Diana Prince or Wonder Woman comes on screen, they do the same thing. And so the soundtrack will be really epic. And then Wonder Woman will jump in the air in slow motion and everything stops. And then they start doing this. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a miscalculation. That was a severe misfire putting that in the soundtrack. I would definitely recommend replacing that if there is a director's cut of the Zack Snyder cut. What are some other things that I did not like about this movie? This movie has a ton of slow motion. I forgot how many Zack Snyder films are filmed almost. It feels like 80 or 90% of the movie is filmed in slow motion. It was cool in 300 every once in a while, showing guys, swing their sword and then zoom into fast motion and then zoom out into slow and then zoom in. But here in the Justice League, it is just way overdone, in my opinion. There were also some lines in there that I thought were I don't know if you thought they were inspiring and uplifting. More power to you. I thought they were kind of corny. There was this. What's her name? Diana Prince saves a group of schoolgirls, and one of the schoolgirls looks up at her and says, "Can I be like you someday?" And she's like, "You could be whatever you want to be." I saw a meme going around on the internet. She's like, "No, you can't. I'm a god." I was thinking the same thing. I was just like, "No, you can't be Wonder Woman because she is a literal Greek goddess." There was another line in there which was pretty unintentionally hilarious. Was when Steppenwolf says, "Back off! This one is mine." And then Diana says, "I belong to no one." So, oh man, no, those lines were just great. I didn't like some of the characters as well, or how some of the characters were portrayed. I was kind of neutral about Ezra Miller's portrayal of the Flash in Joss Whedon's version. I thought he was kind of funny, kind of annoying. I don't know, not Ezra Miller necessarily, but just how the character was written. And I don't know, I found the character a lot more off-putting in this version. Like there's a scene where he's applying for a job at a pet store, and he does that thing in a lot of comedies nowadays where they think it's funny if you just have an actor go in there and just talk as quickly and as awkwardly as possible while someone just stands there silently in disbelief. You saw that a lot in the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, and I don't know, I even saw some of that in the Lion King remake that they did, and it's just weird. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of annoying how he can't just turn in a resume and say, "Sorry, I was late." He has to be like, "Oh, sorry, I was late. Here's my resume. Oh, look, it's folded. Oh, sorry, there's a little crease here." And he has to just like goes off into this whole weird explanation about why he was late and why he loves pets, and it was annoying. Another thing, I didn't like the Victor character. I don't think it's not because of how he was portrayed by the actor, Ray Fisher, or even the writing is just like, I don't know, just personally, I was thinking, he's such a jerk to his dad. He's like, "Dad, you made me a monster. I hate you, and I don't want to talk to you." I was like, "Oh no, your life is so hard. Your dad turned you into an invincible robot who has laser cannons for arms and can live forever and who can fly and who can hack into any technology on the planet and who can literally rebuild broken technology with magic." And I'm like, I can think of worse dads out there that have done worse things to their kids, and he treats his dad like he was a serial killer or something like that. I don't know. So that really turned me off to the Victor character. As far as things that I liked about this movie, so I said that I didn't like the portrayal of Flash initially. Like, I just thought he was kind of annoying, but at the same time, I really liked that Zack Snyder gave him something to do. In Joss Whedon's version, all he did was move civilians out of the way. That was his job in the movie. And I'm just like, this guy can move at the speed of light. Why hasn't he taken a single swipe at Steppenwolf? Instead, they have Batman fighting people. And it's like, why doesn't Batman go and save civilians? So Batman is trying to fight parademons, and Ezra Miller could literally wipe every single one of them out with the flick of his finger, just like moving at the speed of light. Whereas in Zack Snyder's version, he has a purpose. The scene that I really loved him in was at the end when when the mother boxes actually converged, and they're like, "No, it's over," and everybody gets incinerated. At first I was like, "Oh shoot, this is going to be like an Infinity War thing. They're going to end this movie here," and then everyone's going to be begging Zack Snyder to come back and do Justice League 2 so that we can see them all come back to life. I was wrong, thankfully, but. So when that happens, everybody basically explodes, but then Flash stops time, and then and he realizes, he's like, okay, he hints in the movie that he can travel, if he travels faster than the speed of light, that he can reverse time. And so he's like, okay, it's time to break my rule. I gotta do this. Come on, Barry. And then he starts running, and he has this emotional scene where he's talking to his dad in his mind. He's like, "Dad, I just want you to know that I was one of the great ones, Dad," and he's running in slow motion, and everything is coming back and reforming. Superman is, I don't know, he's being reconstituted. He's congealing back into his regular form, and so is Cyborg. And then he touches Cyborg, or he touches the box, and it causes the boxes to separate. I thought that was a really cool scene, and it really gave flash an important character arc rather than simply pushing old trucks out of the way that have a small family in there, which is what happened in Whedon's version. Another scene that I absolutely loved, which Zack Snyder filmed specially for this version of his the Snyder cut, was the reintroduction of Jared Leto's Joker. I did not like Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker. I was initially excited for it, even with the weird makeup. I was like, okay, yeah, it looks weird, but he looks like he's totally unhinged, and he's an Academy Award-winning actor. This is going to be something cool. And then his whole thing was left on the cutting room floor, so that was frustrating, watching Suicide Squad and being all psyched for Jared Leto's Joker, and then nothing happens. But let me tell you, he has about a 2-minute scene with Batman, and this is one of my favorite scenes in any superhero movie I have seen since, I don't know, since like the first Avengers movie. Like, I loved every second of this scene with Jared Leto's Joker. He just looks a lot more menacing. Instead of having that really effeminate looking lipstick on, he has it looks like he has a blood splatter on his face. He looks like a zombie that took a bite out of somebody's neck, and so he just looks a lot more menacing with that. Instead of kind of the pale skin, it's just like plastered white skin, which I like a lot better, and his hair is really creepy and long, and he's got eyeshadow underneath his eyes, and he just looks a lot creepier, and he has just such a cool interaction with Batman, talking about the death of Robin. I don't know if it was Dick Grayson or Jason Todd, and oh man, even though I wasn't a fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League overall, Zack Snyder, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for filming this 2-minute scene. This was this was one of my most rewatched movie scenes of all time. I swear, like the night that I saw it, it was 4:30 in the morning, but I just kept going back and rewinding that scene over and over again just to bask in all of its glory. So that was easily my favorite scene of the movie. That would be the one reason why I would want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. I feel like if Zack Snyder were given permission by WB or HBO Max to make a sequel to Justice League, that it would probably have a lot of the same problems that I just described. It would have a lot of slow motion. It would be really dark. Some of the characters would be kind of weird. Zack Snyder isn't known for his sense of humor either. There was no humor in this film, but if it focused primarily on the nightmare sequence and this dystopian future where Superman is under the control of Darkseid, like I would pay a lot of money to see that. Especially given the tease that we had in Zack Snyder's version with Zack Snyder's cut with Jared Leto's Joker. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Justice League. So yeah, let me know why I'm wrong in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.